Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're very happy to spend the next 30 minutes helping you in our community. If you are dealing with a problem, or you have a loved one dealing with a problem with alcohol or drugs, we want to introduce you to our friends at Soba, Texas. They're in the San Antonio Hill Country, very close, and they offer a lot of great programs. Joining us to tell us more, the person who brought Soba to Texas, it's Greg Hannley. He's the CEO. Alex Dragici is joining us. He is the director of intake there at Soba, and we're also joined by Ashley Lundquist. She's the clinical director. It's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi. Good morning.
We have the absence of Daniel Baldwin this morning, but good to see Ashley.
Hi, thanks.
Looking forward to learning a little bit more about what you do there at Soba. And I want to start by letting you know that we're taking your questions on Facebook this morning. So if you're watching on our Facebook page, we are live streaming. If you're watching at home, hop on news4sa.com, post your question. You can do it anonymously. We won't say names, and we will try to answer those a little bit later on here on San Antonio Living. So today we're going to spend some time talking about heroin. I have heard so many stories in the news over the last couple of weeks, and I feel like I have a better understanding of it because we've been talking about it for so long. People that maybe have not seen you here on San Antonio Living are going, man, there is a big problem with heroin in this country. That's not news to you, though, is it?
No, we're talking about it again.
Yeah.
I was looking at that. We've been doing the show with you over 2 years now. And from the first show, we were talking about this because there's a contagious epidemic of opiate, and especially overdoses now. You know, there's things in the news. Every day there's something that's going on.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of the news, I want to... First, let me just tell you that this video is very hard to watch. We're going to show you a couple pieces of very disturbing video, but we are asking you to watch this because it should shock you, it should scare you, it should make you scratch your head and say, what is going on? This happened recently in Ohio. A mom and dad passed out in their car with a 4-year-old
Well, not
little
passed
boy.
out, overdosed.
Overdosed in their car with a 4-year-old little boy in the back seat. That bothers me so much. I don't even know.
Well, it's because you're seeing the photo.
It.
That's why it's. This is happening everywhere across the country.
Yeah.
But because the officer took photos, it's like now you have a visual. This is what we've been talking about for 3 years, 2 years, for a long time, and because the officer took the photos, now people are just. Yeah, it's
it brings
really
it to
shocking.
the forefront. It really does. Ashley, let me ask you, what seeing that kind of stuff does to people. Do you hope that it will affect them the way it affects me?
I think it should affect people, but it shouldn't be the question of how could they, but why aren't we helping these people?
Right.
It's a shaming picture. It's it should impose the feelings of this is a health crisis that we're going through. This isn't a moral problem that we're seeing with people.
And I do want to talk about that because you mentioned health crisis. You know, you don't just wake up one morning and become addicted to heroin. There is a process that leads you down this dark road. And a lot of people aren't getting the help that they need. And a lot of people start with an injury and start taking prescription pills that were prescribed to them, and then that leads them down this road. It's not just those people in the car that this could happen to. It could happen to any one of us.
Almost every heroin addict that I meet, probably 99% of them started with pills.
Right.
And a lot of them, like you say, were kids that got hurt playing football or doing something like that, and they get addicted to the amount of pills that doctors prescribe sometimes. I mean, you know, you've had prescriptions that you didn't finish.
Yeah.
Well, they're around, and people who have so many access to so much pills actually the picture you're seeing, that's what created this problem right here, is the pills.
I want to show another piece of video that will totally disturb you even more so than that first video. This is a mom who was at the grocery store, overdosed, her daughter trying to wake her up, trying to pull her up. People that are standing around have no idea what's happening here. Scary situation, but could be any grocery store in America.
Well, the thing, when I first saw this, I was going, why is somebody videoing this and not helping this lady?
Right.
And naturally, a natural instinct to seeing something like this, or the parents in the car, is, oh my goodness, those are really bad parents.
Right.
And the truth of it is, oh my goodness, that's really a sick lady.
Yeah.
That lady is really sick and needs help. So if you can imagine that lady right there in today's market with the insurance wouldn't qualify to get treatment because they don't think that somebody who would be passed down on the floor, I mean, if she had a heart attack, you'd know she'd be able to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And everybody was going, oh my goodness, she had a heart attack. Well, the lady overdosed in a dollar store. Could she get treatment? It's kind of questionable.
It's so upsetting. It really is. And I know you are very much involved in the fight to bring treatment to everyone, to deal with these rules that the insurance companies are really placing on recovery centers. And I know that you're out there trying to help these people. It's very important. We're gonna, in this part right here, we're gonna come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing, trying to help people. And it looks like the government might be getting involved. We're gonna explain more about that when we come back. More with Soba, Texas in just a few minutes.
No one is perfect. We all have our inner struggles. It may be alcohol, drug, or any type of addiction. Soba Recovery Center is here to offer free help. You can get the help and free information by calling right now from the privacy of your own home. Don't let alcohol, drug, or any addiction ruin your life. If you or a loved one have alcohol, drug, or any addiction, get help by calling right now. Soba Recovery Center. Most private insurance accepted.
To San Antonio Living. We're talking with our friends from Soba, Texas. We spent the last segment sort of explaining to you the epidemic of drugs in this culture, and hopefully I scared you by showing you some of those videos. They really upset all of us earlier this morning when we were watching them. You don't have to let it get to that point. We've got a facility here in the Texas Hill Country that is ready. They're equipped and they are ready to help you out. Of course, joining us this morning, Greg Hannley, Alex Draghici, and also Ashley Lundquist. Since this is the first time we're able to have you here on San Antonio Living, Ashley, tell me a little bit about what you do at Soba.
I'm the clinical director at Soba, so it's a lot of staff management, but really overseeing the clinical side of the program and seeing what the clients are doing in therapy, what the groups are, and really how and when we can progress the clients through treatment.
Okay, and so I know a big part of that, of course, is keeping track of who's working with the patients and the program. What would you say about the difference between Soba's program and other programs out there?
Well, Soba is a long-term facility, so instead of just pushing people out the door and getting people in so fast, we really focus on each individual person and what they need to be successful long-term in their recovery, instead of just, well, your insurance paid for 30 days and now you got to go.
Absolutely. And anyone who's watched this show knows that really that is the key to success. You can't just go to a 30-day program.
Well, and it used to be your insurance paid for 30 days. Now it would be your insurance paid for 15 days. Now you got to go.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what has happened.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, and we're fighting that. But you know, 30 days doesn't work. 15 days
really doesn't work.
Really doesn't work. And you know, the thing about it is that meeting with the same people and work, I mean, you get off the drugs pretty quick, or you get the alcohol, you get detox pretty quick. But there is a lot of collateral damage that needs to get fixed in the midst of that. And it can be family relationships, it can be legal things, it can be work related.
Right.
And it takes time to, and then just internally, you feel really bad. When I went into treatment, I felt like really everybody'd be better off without me, and I didn't have human value anymore. So recovering, detoxing is the first part, but you got to recover your life again, and it takes a little time for
like
that.
Watching the mom that we just watched, you know, she got Narcan, so she did survive. Her coming just to say she came to Soba, Texas, that's not going to get fixed. That woman's not going to get fixed in 15 days or
Absolutely
30 days.
not, no.
That takes a lot of time to go. That's trauma. That's like serious things that take a lot of time. And what the clinicians do, you know, we have master's level clinicians that dig deep to
get to the root of the problem. Absolutely. But you've got to be able to stay there longer than 15 days. And I think part of, you know, fixing the problem with insurance is that we have to have our government officials and people in those kinds of positions recognize that this is an epidemic and that this is a problem.
We've worked it out so through insurance you can stay longer than that, because since we have several levels of care, instead of just coming in and being booted, we just transition into different levels of care.
And that's not every recovery center. It's the work of Soba. It's Greg's passion that has really facilitated this process here in San Antonio. I want to play a clip real quick from the United States Attorney in Chicago, kind of, you know, putting it out there that this really is a problem. Take a look at this.
Opioids right now are killing more people in this country than gun violence. Opioids right now are killing more people in this country than car crashes. Heroin is everywhere. It's in our cities. It's in our suburbs. Too often, unbeknownst to parents, it's in our schools and in our homes. Heroin is cheap and it is accessible. There are men, women, children, whites, blacks, Hispanics dying from opioid overdose.
So to me, I feel like that's a good thing. I hope that that can lead into more people in important positions recognizing this problem and then helping to fix this situation that we have with people not being able to get help.
Well, but it's a double-sided fix. You have to do something about the amount of opiate-based pain or prescriptions that are getting people addicted and give the treatment to the ones who have become addicted. This problem only came up in the last 10 years at this level, and it is contagious. People learn this from other people, and it's kind of like, if I'm addicted to a painkiller, to Vicodin, for instance, and I run out of it or I can't get it, I would end up getting it on the street from somebody and paying a lot of money. Then, when I couldn't afford it, that same guy on the street who was getting me the pills is going to hand me some heroin to smoke. Now I become a heroin addict. And it's that simple.
It's simple, and it happens very fast, and we're going to continue this conversation. Ashley, thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you. Guys, I do want to let you know how you can get a hold of Soba, Texas. We do have more coming up, but if you need help and you need it right now, the phone number is on your screen. It's 866-948-9014. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're going to get right into it. We're talking to our friends from Soba, Texas. Greg Hannley, the CEO, Alex Dragici, the Director of Operations, and Jane Sullivan is joining us now. She's the Alumni Coordinator with Soba, Texas, and that is a very important position, Jane. Anyone who's been through rehab knows that you've got to stay connected to the process in order to stay sober. So we're going to get to you in just a second.
She's also the intake person. So when you're calling Soba,
we hear your voice.
She's who answers the phone and talks to you about how to get into treatment.
Very good to know. So if you're calling that number right now, Jane won't be answering the phone, but she will have one of her counterparts do that. And of course, we'll make sure you get the most detailed information we can get you today. We do have some questions coming in from Facebook. And Jane, I'm glad you're here because this one's right for you. This is from Dee. Dee wants to know, what do you offer when in-house treatment is complete?
So after they graduate through our sober living program, you know, we do have an alumni meeting there every week. And they're always welcome back to hang out at the facility during our other meetings. I call them and stay in touch, call everybody, love hearing from them. A year down the road, we're still talking. And I like to hear how everybody's doing, what they're doing with their life, and always inviting people back to come and share their story with us.
How important is that, Greg, when you're going through the recovery process?
It's critical. You know, and having somebody call, a lot of times people might have had a problem again, and they're afraid to reach out. So Jane will touch base with them, and maybe they need to come back for a tune-up. And but having that, you know, you're being a part of something that is a, you know, of like fellowship.
A team, a club.
Is, you know, when when something goes on with one of the people, they're surrounded by other people that care about them.
Absolutely.
And truly care, that understand things in life that are happening.
Jane, I want to talk to you again, since I have you here, since you're answering the phones here in San Antonio. What's your take on the problems that we have here in this community?
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many families call me every day, just they don't know where to turn. Their children are lost, you know, and I'm stoked when the phone rings because I know that I have an opportunity to talk to them and to guide them into the right direction.
Absolutely. That's so important. We've got another question. This comes from someone on Facebook, and this is sort of an outreach. She wants you to talk a little bit about methadone. She says, my son did not understand methadone and died of an overdose without knowing of its fatal capacity. That's scary because a lot of people go from heroin to methadone. Is that the right process even?
I'm really not a big believer in methadone.
Okay.
It's one of the hardest detoxes that I ever do is from methadone because it gets in your body and the bones and the cells. It's very difficult. And like anything, if you're using pretty much any kind of a drug, if you use too much of it, you're going to have a problem.
Right.
And methadone, for sure, you know, it's that weird cycle you get into where I think I need it because I'm feeling bad, and yeah, you need to be careful with methadone for sure.
Right.
If you have an option to use some other, I'm just not a big fan of changing from one drug to another
Replacing one
that
with
I'm going to
another,
get
yeah.
addicted to, whether it's methadone, Suboxone. To me, that's not the solution. To use those medications to get through your detox process and then get off of it and maintain your recovery, then you become not a hostage anymore. And at Soba, Texas, the long-term recovery is to get people clean and free of drugs. And a lot of places that you go to, they'll put you on drugs that you get addicted to.
Yeah,
that
long-term
I
maintenance
mean,
plan on
it's
them.
like crazy. And I'm going, you kidding me? This is not the way
Doesn't
to
make
do
sense.
this.
Yeah.
People need to learn how to live life on life's terms. And and to be able to have, and instead of using a drug, use your support system that you have.
Jane, since, again, you're here, if we've got folks that are watching this morning and they're ready to pick up that phone and call Soba, Texas, what would you tell them to encourage them to actually take that step and call?
There's no harm in picking up the phone. You're not making any commitments, you're just talking to somebody that cares.
Okay. Guys, the phone number is on your screen if you're ready to make that phone call, whether it's for you or for someone else. It's 866-948-9014. Soba, Texas is here in the San Antonio area, up in the Texas Hill Country. Go to sobatexas.com for more details. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining us this morning, Greg Hannley, Alex Dragici, and Jane Sullivan with Soba, Texas. We've been talking a lot about the facility, about the problem with drugs and alcohol here in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. There's more than one Soba recovery center. You're not just in Texas, you're everywhere. You have a great magazine that comes out as well. It's called Recovery Today, and a lot of important articles. And it's great to see different people featured from all walks of life that maybe you didn't know struggled with addiction or have something to say about addiction. And this month featuring Kurt Angle. Very interesting stuff there, guys. You can read all about it when you check the Soba website. Everything you need to know is right there. We've been getting a lot of questions on Facebook about the cost of a recovery center. How much does insurance pay for this, that, and the other thing? And I want to talk about that because every facility is different. And I know that you've been very much involved in the fight to allow people to stay as long as they need and to work with those insurance companies. If there's someone at home watching this morning, maybe they don't have a lot of money, they don't understand their insurance policy, what would you tell them?
Call Jane.
Yeah.
Call.
Yeah. She'll help out with that.
Jane, what would you say?
We will always find a facility for anybody that calls, whether it's us or somewhere else. We're going to make sure that you have a bed.
You're seeing some
And you
video.
might not realize that your insurance coverage that you have could cover most of it.
Or you might think you have the greatest insurance and it's, you know, and that you have coverage, and then you call and find out you actually don't.
No.
But you need to do something, and so we're going to guide you to wherever you need to get to.
Yeah.
You're seeing some video of the Soba facility. We haven't showed this in a while, and I love showing it because it really shows the community of Soba. This is a place where you can go and meet other people that are dealing with similar situations as you. You're gonna get great counselors, great therapists, great information, and what sets Soba aside is that it's not just, you know, okay, you're addicted, let me fix you. It's all about digging and getting to the root of that problem, because if you don't fix that, you're gonna be right back in another rehab facility.
Yeah, well, or worse. You know, your rehab facility could be prison or the graveyard.
Yeah.
This is an emergency. You cannot, and it also, it's a sickness. It's not a moral issue.
Yeah.
So if you have family members or kids or people that are at work that have a problem, it's okay to talk to them, but do it like you talk to them like you would somebody who's ill and doesn't know how to take care of themselves.
And if you need help starting that conversation, there's a lot of great information on the Soba website. It's sobatexas.com. You also got a chance to meet Jane here on San Antonio Living this morning. If you call that number on your screen, she will help you take the right steps to getting help. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Sobatexas.com on Facebook and Twitter at Soba Living. We'll see you next time.
No one is perfect. We all have our inner struggles. It may be alcohol, drug, or any type of addiction. Soba Recovery Center is here to offer free help. You can get the help and free information by calling right now from the privacy of your own home. Don't let alcohol, drug, or any addiction ruin your life. If you or a loved one have alcohol, drug, or any addiction, get help by calling right now. Soba Recovery Center. Most private insurance accepted.